I caught my wife cheating, but it wasn't just an affair. She was planning to disappear with him. What I uncovered destroyed 2 marriages, and the truth went way deeper than I ever expected. I've never been the kind of guy to post online, but I don't know what else to do with this. I, 34M, have been married to my wife Hannah, 32F, for 7 years. We met in college. She was that girl, you know the type? Magnetic. When she walked into a room, it felt like the air shifted. Somehow, she chose me, the quiet engineering major who barely knew how to dress himself. Life with Hannah was good, or so I thought. We bought a house, adopted a dog, and talked about kids. I thought we were aligned. I thought we were solid. But lately, she'd been different. It started small. She got a new job in marketing a few months ago, and suddenly she was working late a lot. At first, I believed her. I mean, why wouldn't I? But then she started taking calls in the other room. She'd smile at her phone in ways she didn't smile at me anymore. She started dressing up more, even on work-from-home days. One night, I was sitting on the couch, watching something dumb on Netflix, when her phone buzzed. She was in the shower. I don't usually check her phone, never needed to, but something in me snapped. It was a message from someone named Chris Work. That was weird. I'd met most of her co-workers, and I didn't remember any Chris. The message? Just 5 words. Last night was worth it. My stomach dropped. I didn't know what to do. I just sat there, frozen, while the shower kept running. My mind went blank. Then it spiraled. Was it emotional? Physical? How long had it been going on? I didn't confront her that night. I couldn't. Instead, I started digging. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake, next to her, staring at the ceiling while she snored softly like nothing was wrong. The next day, I called in sick to work. I needed to think, plan, process. I started going through her phone while she was in the kitchen. It was worse than I thought. Chris Work wasn't just a name in her contacts. It was a thread, dozens of messages, photos, some tame, some not, voice notes with her laughing in ways I hadn't heard in years. Him calling her babe, her calling him my escape. My escape? That one hit like a punch to the chest. The affair had been going on for at least 4 months. I pieced that together from the dates of their first messages. It wasn't just sex. They had inside jokes, talked about movies they saw together. During nights, she told me she was at happy hour with co-workers. She even said she loved him. The rage I felt was cold, numb. I wasn't crying. I wasn't yelling. I was just detached. I couldn't confront her until I had everything. So I backed up the messages, took screenshots, even emailed them to myself. I was methodical. I guess part of me didn't want to believe it unless I had undeniable proof. I needed to see it again and again for it to sink in. That night, I told her I was working late. I parked around the corner and waited. Sure enough, around 8:15, a silver car pulled into the driveway. I saw her come out in one of those dresses she said she wore only for client meetings. She got in. They drove off. I followed them. They didn't go to some hidden motel. They went to a restaurant, one we used to go to when we were first dating. That felt intentional. Or maybe that made it worse. From the car, I watched her laugh across the table, touch his hand, lean in close, like she used to do with me, like she never would again. But I didn't know the full story yet, not even close. I watched them from my car for nearly 2 hours. I didn't know what I was waiting for, maybe for them to leave, maybe for some kind of sign that I wasn't completely losing it. But all I got was confirmation. She was all in with this guy. They left holding hands. They didn't even try to hide it. She got into his car again, and I followed, staying back, keeping my headlights off. I expected them to go to a hotel or maybe his place, but they didn't. They went to a townhouse on the other side of town. It was a quiet neighborhood. Too clean, too perfect. She had a key. That's what killed me. She unlocked the door like she belonged there. I waited outside, engine off, heart pounding. I don't know how long. Eventually, I saw a light turn off upstairs. That was enough. I drove home, barely keeping it together. The next morning, I called in sick again. I couldn't face anyone. I couldn't even face myself. But I couldn't sit in silence either. I needed to know who this guy was. Chris. So I did some digging, checked her LinkedIn, looked up her company staff. There was a Christopher Barnes listed as the new director of accounts. Hired 5 months ago, right around when the text started. I Googled him. Corporate headshot. Married. 2 kids. 1 golden retriever. It made me sick. I wasn't just watching my wife cheat. I was watching her help someone else cheat, too. This guy had a whole life, just like we did, or used to. Then something strange happened. I clicked on his wife's Facebook profile. Public. There was a post from just 2 weeks ago. A picture of Chris and his wife at their daughter's recital. Happy. Smiling. Oblivious. But the comments, one of them stood out. It's so nice to see you two together again after everything. Again? I clicked on the commenter's profile. Her sister, maybe? Then I saw it. A post from 3 months ago. Praying for my sister and her family as they recover from betrayal and rebuild trust. My heart started racing. Chris had already been caught cheating. So why was Hannah getting involved with him? Unless she already knew. Unless this wasn't just some fling. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this. I thought I was unraveling an affair, but what I was uncovering felt deeper, messier. I kept digging. Using a burner Instagram account, I followed Chris's wife. Let's call her Melissa. She posted often. Yoga, family trips, inspirational quotes. Her life looked curated, polished, until you started reading between the lines. One post caught my attention. A black and white photo of a sunrise captioned, "When you think it's over, but life gives you a second chance. Trust is a journey, one day at a time." It was dated 3 months ago, right around the time Chris and Hannah's messages started getting more personal. That timeline didn't sit right with me. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I messaged her. I didn't lead with details. I just wrote, "Hi, Melissa. I think we need to talk. It's about Chris and my wife." I didn't expect a response. Not right away. But 10 minutes later, she replied, "You're the second person to message me this month. Call me." She sent her number. I paced around the kitchen for a while before dialing. When she answered, her voice was calm, too calm, like she'd already lived this 100 times in her head. "Who's your wife?" she asked first. "Hannah," I said. There was silence, then a sigh. Not surprised, just tired. "I knew it," she said. I had a feeling. I asked her what she meant. She told me Chris had cheated on her once before, with a co-worker. She never got the name. They went to therapy, tried to rebuild. She thought it was working. Until now. But then came the real kicker. "I don't think your wife is just another affair," she said. "Chris, he's been weird lately. Extra secretive. Like he's planning something." That's when the walls really started to close in. What did she mean, planning something? I asked her if they'd ever talked about leaving their spouses. Her pause said it all. Melissa hesitated before speaking again. He mentioned starting over. She said slowly, "Somewhere quiet, a new city, a clean slate." My throat went dry. He said that? I asked. Yes. He even suggested we sell the house. Said it would be good for the kids, but something felt off. Now I think he met with her. I felt dizzy. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was planning to leave, to vanish, with another man. Melissa asked if I had proof. I told her I had screenshots, photos, everything. She asked me to send them. I did. A few minutes later, she replied, "That's her. I've seen her. She came to his office once." I thought she was just a co-worker. I sat there, staring at my screen, unable to move. This wasn't just betrayal. It was premeditated. It wasn't some drunken mistake or short-lived fantasy. They had keys to each other's places. They had long-term plans. They had lies built on top of lies. And I had been sleeping next to it every night. I asked Melissa if she wanted to confront them together. She said no. She wanted to talk to Chris alone, privately for the sake of their kids. But I couldn't do the same. Not with Hannah. I needed her to feel it, to know that I knew every detail. So I set it up. That weekend, I told her I'd be out of town for a work trip. I even packed a fake suitcase. She smiled, kissed me goodbye like nothing was wrong, said be safe. The moment I left the house, I parked 3 blocks away and walked back. Waited. It didn't take long. An hour later, Chris's car pulled into the driveway. I gave it another 10 minutes. Then I walked up, opened the door with my own damn key, and stepped inside. The look on their faces when I walked into the living room, I'll never forget it. They weren't just startled. They were scared. Not scared of me. Scared that I knew. That's when I saw it. A folder on the coffee table. Plane tickets. A printed lease agreement. A checklist titled Things to Cancel Before the Move. They were leaving in 2 weeks. For a moment, none of us spoke. Hannah stood frozen, clutching a wine glass like it could shield her. Chris sat stiffly, already reaching for the folder like he could somehow hide it. You planning a vacation? I asked, voice low, steady. Too steady. Hannah blinked. It's not what you think. No. I stepped forward and picked up the lease agreement. A 2-bedroom apartment in Portland. Move-in date, August 17th. Because it looks exactly like what I think. Chris finally stood. Look, man, let's just... Don't. I snapped. You don't talk. You don't even breathe in my house. I turned back to Hannah. You were going to disappear? No divorce. No conversation. Just vanish? Leave your whole life behind. Her eyes welled up. I was going to tell you. When? At the airport. She opened her mouth, closed it, looked at Chris like he'd have the answer. That told me everything. She wasn't the mastermind. He was, and she followed. I laughed, short, bitter. You know what the worst part is? It's not even that you cheated. It's that I didn't see it. I trusted you so much, it blinded me. Chris took a step forward. Look, this is between you and her. I think I should go. I looked him dead in the eye. You should have thought of that before you brought your betrayal into my home. He backed off. Hannah sat down on the couch, holding her head in her hands. She didn't cry. She just whispered, I don't want to hurt you. I knelt in front of her. But you did, I said, over and over. And the thing is, I think you did want to hurt me, just enough to feel something again. That broke her. She started sobbing. Chris awkwardly stood there, like a child caught in a fight between adults. I stood up, walked to the door. Before leaving, I turned and said, I'll send the divorce papers next week. And Hannah, you don't get to run away. You get to live in what you destroyed. I slammed the door. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I checked into a cheap motel and sat in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every laugh, every kiss we'd shared over the last 7 years, all of it now feeling like it belonged to someone else's life. She texted me, called me, left voicemail sobbing, begging to talk. I didn't respond. The next day, I met with a lawyer. There was something disturbingly therapeutic about it. The cold, clinical way they talked about separation, assets, paperwork. It made the mess feel containable. It gave it structure. But there was one thing I needed to do before I closed that chapter. I messaged Melissa again. We should talk. In person. She agreed. We met at a quiet park near her place. She looked tired, like someone who hadn't slept in weeks but was too proud to show it. We talked for over an hour. She confronted Chris the night I walked in. He didn't deny anything. He admitted everything. Said he was confused, that he loved them both, that he wasn't sure what he was doing. She laughed bitterly as she said that. He's moving into a hotel, she said. I told him I needed space. He's not seeing the kids until I figure out what comes next. I told her I filed for divorce. There was a long pause. Then she asked, what now? I shrugged. I don't know. We rebuild, I guess. Separately. Before we left, she turned to me and said something that stuck with me. They burned down 2 marriages for a fantasy. Now they'll have to live in the ashes. I didn't respond, but I smiled. A few weeks passed. Hannah moved out. I kept the house, not because I wanted it, but because I didn't want her to have it. It echoed with memories now, but at least they were mine. I heard Chris quit his job. Word got around at her office. People knew. Maybe not all the details, but enough. Hannah had become that woman. And Chris? A repeat offender. Good luck starting over with that reputation. Melissa and I kept in touch. Not romantically, just survivors of the same crash. We had coffee sometimes. Exchanged updates. Once, we joked about writing a book. Strangely, those conversations helped me heal more than therapy ever did. I found a new apartment eventually. Smaller, quieter, and I started learning how to be alone again. I started painting. Something I hadn't done since college. Took my dog on longer walks. Made new routines. Rebuilt me. One night, months later, I got a message from Hannah. Just one sentence. I'm sorry for everything. No explanation. No begging. No lies. I didn't respond. Because I didn't need to anymore. This wasn't my burden to carry now. It was hers. And Chris's. Whatever fantasy they'd chased. The new city, the fresh start. It didn't matter. Because wherever you go, there you are. And secrets don't stay buried forever. They just wait for the right moment to destroy everything.